Before we get into today's video proper, there are a few important things that need to be discussed. Number one being that the Atlanta Legends section of my first AAF introductions video is now outdated. As of this past Thursday, Michael Vick is no longer the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Legends. This is unfortunate for a number of reasons. One, Vick was part of the reason I was excited about that team. Number two being that it sucks for the team to lose their OC that close to game time. Even if Vic wasn't even acting as OC that late, he was probably at some point up to then, and that really hurts a team's preparation, as we'll get into in a moment. But that's really just the worst luck for a team like the Atlanta Legends. Their head coach left in January, now they lose their OC just before the first game. That's a massive, almost impossible to come back from setback, and it certainly showed itself. Number two being that this video, due to some delays on my part, will come out after the first day of AAF games, where San Antonio took on San Diego. And in that game, the Fleet were defeated 15-6 by the Commanders. The Commanders' defense shut them down completely. The Fleet's quarterbacks never looked in any sort of sync, and that's just not ideal. You know, the infamous sack by Sean Washington, that's the big play going around social media right now. I'm really glad to see that happened. I feel bad for Berkovici, who had to get hit by it, but Buzz is what a new league leads, and a big hit like that is a good way to get it. On to the other game, which was the Orlando Apollos destroying the Atlanta Legends 40-6, and it showed itself. Steve Spurrier is a great coach, and Atlanta had far too many setbacks to really get in front of the ball there, and that offense just killed them. The Orlando special was great, let's call it that anymore instead of the Philly special. That's not my salty Dallas fan showing at all. But that was what I wanted to cover. I'm sorry for not getting this video out before those games, but we'll get this one out this morning before today's games in the AAF. But without further ado, welcome to Kickoff Commentary, and today is the fourth and final AAF introductions video covering two teams, the Orlando Apollos and the San Diego Fleet. They both played last night, so let's see what they're working with. We're going to start with the Orlando Apollos. The Orlando Apollos are head coached by Steve Spurrier and play their home games in Spectrum Stadium. Steve Spurrier has been around football since 1963. The guy lives and breathes football. He was a Heisman winner for Florida in 1966 and the national champion there as the head coach in 1996. He finished his college coaching career with South Carolina in 2015 and hadn't done any official coaching since then. However, he's back with the AAF. Some notable players for the team are quarterback Garrett Gilbert and safety Will Hill. Garrett Gilbert was a quarterback for the Texas Longhorns who came in for an injured Colt McCoy during the 2009 national championship game. Gilbert got roughed up in that one. He didn't have a ton of help, but he did turn the ball over 5 times, 4 picks and 1 fumble. Not the best showing. After that, his career at Texas wasn't great. He threw a lot of interceptions. He transferred to SMU. Did a little bit better there. I believe he went undrafted and kind of washed out of the NFL. Will Hill, the safety, went to Florida, and you probably know him if you know him at all best for the kick 6 return against the Cleveland Browns in 2015 to beat them at the final buzzer, one of the wildest Monday Night Football finishes you will ever see. And a final player that you may know of on the team is Marquez White, who was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys and spent some time on their roster and practice squad before eventually getting released. Overall, the view of the Apollos is clearly pretty good. What I would have said here probably is different knowing what they did to Atlanta last night, but they looked in tune. Garrett Gilbert looked great. Spurrier clearly still has it as a head coach. And it'll be interesting to see then. They looked unbeatable last night. If they can keep that up, they got to be the favorites in the AAF so far. And with that, we're going to move on now to the San Diego Fleet. The Fleet are head coached by Mike Martz and play their home games in SDCCU Stadium, although it'll always be Qualcomm Stadium to me. Martz is an amazing offensive mind, as he was the offensive coordinator for the Greatest Show on Turf Rams that won the Super Bowl and the head coach for the team that ended up losing to Tom Brady. Overall, some of the players that you may know on the team are Bishop Sankey, who was a running back for the Titans for a bit, DeMontre Moore, who was a defensive end in the NFL with the Giants mainly, and Gavin Escobar, who Cowboys fans know as a wasted second-round pick. Looking at the team, they didn't play particularly well last night. Obviously, they didn't. The quarterback play was pretty subpar, but I think that they can turn it around. Here's what I would personally like to see. Alex Ross, who is a quarterback on the team's roster, was Mr. Irrelevant in the quarterback's draft there. And it would be cool to see him take over and get some playtime. I've been following his story. He seems to be a pretty cool one. It'd be nice to see him play there. But a problem with the Fleet is that simply it's similar to the problem that the Legends had in that they've lost some valuable assets. The team got the first overall pick in the quarterback's draft and took Josh Johnson, who almost immediately got taken by the Redskins and finished off their regular season. So they were without their quarterback. And then just recently, the Dallas Cowboys took their offensive coordinator, John Kitna, and made him their quarterback's coach. So no quarterback, no OC, OC, similar to the Legends' problems, and it's fitting that both teams that lost their offensive coordinators only scored 6 points last night. If your offense doesn't have its coordinator, or at least the guy you pegged for it, it's going to be hard to succeed with that. But with all that out of the way, like I said, I think the Fleet will probably get it worked out. Martz is a great offensive mind, and he could get it worked out. I don't think it's impossible. And with that, we have finally come to an end of our reviews of the teams of the new league, the Alliance of American Football, the AAF. Which of these teams interests you the most? So have you already picked one? Are you still going to wait till today's games are over? Are you going to wait a few more weeks? You good with the entire season? Let me know down in the comments section. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. I've had a great time making these, and I hope you've enjoyed these as much as I have. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content from this channel. We'll be covering the AAF. We'll go back to covering the NFL too as well. This has been Kickoff Commentary, and have an awesome day.